put me on the list. Thanks to easy for the rhyme. Cringy message be the same. I'm established, it ain't magic. Talking Johnson, I attack it. I'm a Haitian who's sporadic, automatic, spitting savage, yeah. 21, he ain't like me. 23, how I'm ballin'. Lil Uzi, I respect it. But the message ain't the best. She vindicated of the shame. Till I praise his name. Newbie to the game. My life when it changed. People still the plan. Man, I'm sick of playing. Yeah. Y'all didn't listen when.
Hey, everybody. Did you watch the Super Bowl last night? Have you been thinking about what's happening on episode number 5 of WandaVision? Hey, guess what? You're in the right place because we're going to be talking about that here on For the Z, where we talk about issues that affect Generation Z and why, and baby boomers, all of it, because that's what we do to have fun and learn about generational differences and try to bridge the gap from A to Z. I'm Eric JB, and that's what you're watching right now for the Z, y'all.
Pop out with some lessons for a lifetime. We finna sit down and talk about the times. Keeping it 100 for the one time. For our generation, talking all the time. For the Z, yeah, yeah. For the Z, yeah, yeah. For the Z, yeah, yeah. For the Z, pop out with the Z.
All right, so today I'm joined by my good friends, Nate and George, who have been on this show multiple times because we love to talk about things that are interesting. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. Oh, especially after the events of the Super Bowl this weekend, man.
I'm ready.
Like, yeah, we're gonna talk about it, man. But I am doing absolutely fantastic. Actually, this is the first time we've been on in 2021.
Yes,
the last time we were on was, I believe, November, right around the election. So it's been a couple of months. So I'm excited.
Wow, new president, and of course Tom Brady once again going to the Super Bowl, getting his 7th ring. 10th,
7th,
number 7. That's a sanctified number. Okay,
10 Super Bowl appearances. I think he has the most Super Bowl appearances of any quarterback, most wins of any quarterback, and
franchise.
I think he exceeded franchises now, because I think the most is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Patriots with 6. He has 7
for all of those. Yeah. So,
you guys are from Massachusetts, myself as well, but I'm now living in Michigan. The tone around here is they do not like that we are happy for Tom Brady. They say we should be upset that he left. Give some insight on why we as New Englanders are still happy for Tom.
We didn't want him to leave. Like we didn't want him to leave. Like, no New England fan wanted Tom to leave. None of us wanted him to go. It was all the Belichick and the coaching staff. If we had it our way, we would have kept Tom. But the coaching staff decided to push him out the door. So you know what he did? In his first season in the NFC, he got a whole bunch of people together, grabbed Antonio Brown, who was about to be in prison, pulled Gronk out of retirement, grabbed Leonard Fournette, who was a random free agent. He said, "You come with me." First year, no off season, no preseason, no practice, Zoom calls and OTAs. Went 11-5, went to the wild card round, beat Washington at their home. Went against Drew Brees, beat Drew Brees in New Orleans. Went to Lambeau, beat Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau, and then hosted for the first time in Super Bowl history. The home team is hosting the Super Bowl, goes ahead, and not only beats a man who was dubbed the baby GOAT, Patrick Mahomes, whose record in the postseason up until that point was 6-1, coming off of a Super Bowl run and an MVP, and that team had like a 14-2 record, and destroyed them 31-9. throwing 3 touchdowns and no interceptions, winning his 5th Super Bowl MVP, and being the first NFL player to win Super Bowl MVPs on 2 separate teams in 2 separate conferences. What else can you say? On his 7th ring.
He's also, what's the age? 43?
43 years old. I forgot about that. 43. He did all that in his first season in the NFC. What else can you say?
I believe he's the oldest active player. I think Vinatieri is still not retired, but he is a free agent. He is not signed. And Brady is active, and he won the Super Bowl.
Oh, man. Like, Nate recapped it perfectly, right? I don't even feel like, we're doing a podcast. I feel like we're guests on an episode of First Take or, Undisputed or First Things First, all those sports talk shows. Nate just recapped it perfectly. I don't even know what else to say, right? But to follow your first point, we didn't want him to leave, all right? We didn't want him to leave. Me and Nate talked all summer about this. And when Brady first left, I didn't cry, but I was really sad because I said it. His last year in New England, he had no weapons. He had nobody to throw the ball to. Nobody outside of Julian Edelman, who's a great receiver, but he's not a number one. He's not like the other great receivers in the league, right? But then everybody, all the coaching staff from the Pats, they're going to, all these radio stations, right? All of their, all these people that are friendly with Bill, right? In the media. And they're saying, oh, Brady's washed. He's too old. He can't throw anymore. And it's like Brady and Belichick had 2 decades of a marriage, 20 years, right? And all Brady wanted at the end was some love and some respect. He didn't want a divorce. He didn't want to sign the papers. He didn't. He had no other choice. Belichick kicked him, threw him out the door, right? Yeah. After, 20 years from now, right? Maybe 10 years, when Belichick finally retires, when Brady's all said and done, right? They'll be friends again. They'll probably joke, right? Because you saw what happened with Kobe and Shaq. Kobe and Shaq, they ended, way prematurely. But at the end, before Kobe passed away, right, they were able to make up their differences and, they were able to become friendly again. One day, Brady and Belichick, they'll be friends again. But for right now, the story is Bill versus Tom. Who was more responsible for the success of the dynasty? I've always been a pro player guy. I'm usually on the side of the players. I understand that coaching matters, right? But at the end of the day, you need to have players out there that execute the game plan, execute the strategies, execute what the coach wants to run, right? And I knew Brady was not done. I knew he wasn't done yet. And when he first went to Tampa of all places, I was like,
the worst winning percentage in NFL history as a franchise.
Exactly. Out of all the places that he could have gone, he went to Tampa Bay, one of the worst franchises in all of sports. They haven't won a Super Bowl in years, right? Everybody was roasting. Why would Brady go to Tampa? Why did he go to LA? The big lights, the big city. He went to Tampa, right? And they were 7-9 last season. He walks in the door, and all of a sudden, they're a Super Bowl contender. I said from the jump, from week 1, right? Everyone in our friend group was like, "Oh, Brady got annihilated by the Saints." Then week 9, they lost to the Saints again. Right? They got destroyed. And then week 12, Thanksgiving week, right? They got destroyed by the Chiefs. Everyone was like, Brady's washed. I said, yeah. Wait till they come back from their bye week. Wait, because we're about to enter postseason mode. Psycho Tom is about to make his reappearance and remind y'all why he's the GOAT. And the thing about it is, being here in the Boston area, I listen to Boston sports radio every single day. It's the thing, right? And just to see the more success that Brady had, right, the more that you couldn't defend the Patriots organization, the more you knew everybody at the Patriots organization would suffer, right? From the first game. So let's break this down really quickly, right? Because we don't want to spend all day on this, but I could if I honestly want to. All right, let's break this down. Wild card weekend, they go up against the Washington football team, right? Everyone's like, all right. If they win a playoff game, it was a success. Brady's like, no, that's not a success for me, right? So then they go up against Drew Brees, the team that beat them twice in the regular season. Everyone's picking the Saints. I picked the Bucks, of course. They walk into the Superdome. They send Drew Brees into retirement. Then the next week goes into Lambeau Field, the house of legends, against the MVP, Aaron Rodgers. That bad man, as Stephen A. Smith would say. He walks into Lambeau Field, freezing cold. Everybody's like, oh, the Bucs are from Tampa, right? They're not going to be able to play in cold weather. Right. Brady marches into Lambeau Field, and I told Nate this, might as well rename Lambeau Field Brady Field. Walks in, becomes the NFC champions in his first year there. The last 2 weeks, as we got ready for the Super Bowl, everybody in the Boston area is suffering, right? The ones that picked Bill, and especially the Pats organization, because they realized they messed up. It doesn't matter if Brady wins the Super Bowl or not. The fact that he just walks into an organization and they're in the Super Bowl, it's already a win. Brady has nothing else to prove, but he's going up against none other than the person they call the baby goat. Are you serious right now? Are you serious? The baby goat? Patrick Mahomes is great. We know that. But how disrespectful is it to say the baby goat who's only won one ring? One ring. And the thing about it is, you saw the Super Bowl, you thought if there was a blowout, you would think it would be the Chiefs blowing out the Bucs, right? Ooh. No, not only do the Bucs blow out the Chiefs, Mahomes doesn't even throw a touchdown pass. Brady throws 2 touchdown passes to Gronk. The guy who came out of retirement to go to Tampa to play with Brady. AB, the one who signed with the Patriots, who got released 2 weeks later. AB, who everyone thought was going to get arrested. AB, who signs a 1-year deal to play with Tom Brady. And now here's the crazy thing about it. I'm a Patriots fan. But at the end of the day, I voted with Tom. I stayed with Tom because of the way he should have never. Tom Brady should have won his 7th ring here. He should have won it here. He should have never been thrown out, right? Brady comes to Tampa, and everyone's like, oh, the Patriot way? No, Brady is the Patriot way, right? Because we all know about the series of New England. The fact that Brady and Gronk just walk into another organization, they're able to bring in stars. People are saying that Tom Brady is a better GM than Bill Belichick.
Can you imagine? What's crazy, too, is that the 2 touchdown passes that Gronk caught, Brady and Gronk surpassed Joe Montana and Jerry Rice for the most postseason touchdown connections from a quarterback and a receiver of all time.
My goodness.
You don't understand. This Super Bowl, Brady was on a mission to prove something. And if you want to talk about proving something, the records that were broken, what he's just done, the debate is over. It's done. There is no, I can't fathom a singular argument you can make for any other quarterback, for any other player in NFL history. The closest person that would come to this realm is Deion Sanders. And even still, because quarterback blowing Montana out of the water. This is not a debate anymore. Like, this hasn't been a debate since Super Bowl 49. Brady's the GOAT of quarterbacks. But now, not only is he the greatest NFL player of all time, Brady has now put himself in where now he was since last year, but now he's in the conversation for if you had 4 athletes to represent major sports or sports in general, which 4 athletes are you picking? Tom Brady is on that Mount Rushmore. He's on that Mount Rushmore. You are now talking about who is the greatest athlete, the greatest winner in sports history? Tom Brady, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. is now on that list, undoubtedly. And you just can't argue it anymore.
This guy, wait, let me say this,
crazy.
George. Let me say this, George. This guy went in Black History Month, went against a black quarterback, beat him, and still had black people cheering because
with 3 black coaches.
Tom Brady has brought more black people to the Super Bowl than Harriet Tubman in the Underground Railroad.
I haven't even heard that one.
It's well, that was an old joke that Pat Riley should be black because he brought so many people to the promised land as a basketball coach. Well, now it's Tom Brady. Now Tom Brady has brought so many black people to Super Bowl wins. So my goodness, the guy is a legend. It's plain and simple, a legend. You can't say anything else about Tom Brady other than he is an amazing legend. So people who are listening right now, if you are a Tom Brady hater, you need to send in your apologies and also stop hating on him. The more you hate on him, the stronger he gets, the younger he gets. I'm trying to think of an anime character. The more you hate them, the stronger they get. Like Goku at the end when he gets all the energy from people and then he defeats Frieza. That's the same thing with Tom Brady. Like the more you hate him, the stronger. Like he will look up on Twitter and see that you hate him, and he'll say, "Oh, user 56789, I'm gonna prove you wrong," and go to this. Don't give him fuel. Just say he's the greatest, and hopefully maybe now he'll retire. That's what I gotta say.
I know the entire world, I saw this hilarious TikTok of this guy destroying his computer and whatnot because it was funny because Tom's, we all saw it. Tom's giving a Super Bowl speech and he goes, the Jim Nance is like, so yeah, Tom, you're doing good, right? Like, what do you think? And then Tom goes, oh yeah, we're gonna be back next year. The entire NFL goes, oh my god, we can't get rid of this guy. It won't go away.
Did people really think Tom was gonna actually retire? If he did, it would have been the most savage thing ever, right? But the thing about it is, Brady, stop saying Brady's gonna retire. The dude, Jim Nance, asks him the question. He doesn't even think about it, right? When Peyton Manning won his second Super Bowl a couple years ago, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go home, take a couple weeks, talk with my family, think about it. Drew Brees said the same thing. Brady's like, nah, we're gonna be better next year. Nah, I got room to improve. Nah, man, yeah, I'm already more excited for next season.
Well, here's the thing. You gotta look at the NFL. All right. The Bucks have already opened up. It's crazy. The Chiefs and the Bucks already opened up as the favorites for next year's for Super Bowl appearances. And I look at the NFC and I look at that Bucks team. They're going to be able to keep most of those pieces. And I go, oh my gosh, the Buccaneers can actually repeat. They can actually repeat because
he's starting his own dynasty in Tampa. His third.
The only other team in the AFC. There's no team in the AFC besides the Chiefs that can take out Tampa. So, and the NFC, maybe the Rams and the Seahawks. But after that, I can't think of anybody else who's going to take out the Bucks. We might see Patrick Mahomes and Brady go at it again. And that Bucks defense, let me tell you something about when they say in all sports, defense wins championships? Bro, oh my gosh. And what's crazy? I give Patrick Mahomes credit because at the end of that game, there were 2 passes that this man made. 2 passes that this is why the Chiefs offense is scary. 2 passes he made. One, he gets it back corner to the end zone. If that receiver toe taps it, it's over. If that receiver toe taps it, it's over. And then he goes parallel to the ground and sidearms it, and it lands a receiver square in the face. If that receiver catches it, Patrick Mahomes is completing a touchdown pass where he's parallel to the ground. This guy's going to be a problem. This guy is unreal. I can't even, I don't even know what to say. This is going to be a good dynasty to start out with. It's going to be crazy.
Wow. Well, everybody, that's, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl because it was yesterday and it was very interesting. And the fact that Tom Brady is never stopping. It's just he's a real life Benjamin Button. He keeps getting younger and better. I'm younger than him, and I'm already feeling the effects of age in a worse way than he is.
You need to get on that TB12, Eric.
Yes, sir.
All right. Tom already has a TB12 facility here in New England, in Tampa. I guarantee you, give it 10 years. Whenever Tom chooses to retire, he's going to go full on with the TB12 business. I'm telling you, I give it 10 years. There'll be a TB12 facility everywhere in the United States.
Oh, I know. I'm taking my TB12.
State.
Yeah, for sure.
every state. You know, Eric, move back here to Massachusetts and get to that TB12 facility, man. That's what I would. That's what I would recommend.
TB12 facility is going to be like in the sci-fi movies where immortality is tested and played with. It's going to be at a TB12 facility because my goodness, this guy is unreal. But anyway, talking about science and testing facilities, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, guys, is the show by the name of WandaVision.
Wanda,
well, I'm just gonna say this right now. I'm gonna let all your listeners know right now. You're gonna be spoiled. So if you haven't seen the show, go watch the show. Episode 6 is coming out this Friday. We got all the way up to episode 5. Watch the show because I don't care. Like, I have to talk about this. But go ahead, Eric.
Yes. So as Nate has said, spoiler alert for those who have not yet watched WandaVision. It's pretty much, I think, halfway through the season or so.
Yep.
By the way, speaking about that, those who have not yet watched it, you're in deep trouble because there've already been massive leaks. Like episode 5 leaked.
God, yes.
And it was the biggest spoiler.
Yeah.
So you need to get on the show now before the leaks and people like us are talking about it all over your timeline. But basically, the show is about Scarlet Witch, who is a member of the Avengers, also aka Wanda Maximoff, and her love interest, the vibranium synthesoid Vision. They are living in a suburban home, married, and eventually in one of the episodes even have twins by the name of Billy and Tommy, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so they have twins, but there's something not quite right about this wonderful, perfect suburban life as they continue to live like they are in a sitcom from the 50s to the 60s to 70s. So one thing I want to point out that I really enjoyed is the fact that every episode when they're dealing with the suburban reality is every time it's a different sitcom, and you can trace it back to a real life sitcom that we watched in those decades. The theme song is similar, the intro is similar, the way it's shot is similar. Like the 50s was very similar to Dick Van Dyke Show. It was very similar to the Dick Van Dyke Show. The 60s was very similar to, I can't think of a 60s sitcom off the top of my head, but it was very similar to like Leave It to Beaver and those kinds of shows. And then the 70s was definitely the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
If you look at it, Brady Bunch. And then episode 5, I think they went to the 80s.
That was Full House.
It was all of them. It was Family Ties, Full House, but a lot of it was actually Family Ties. If like I saw a little video on it, the intro is very similar to Family Ties. There is one shot that's very similar to Full House, but yeah. So kudos to that. That's really, really interesting about it. So let me ask you guys this question. This is the other thing that people have been talking about. Is there really somebody else controlling in the story besides Wanda?
You're bringing out the comic book nerd in me, Eric. This is my forte. This is my forte because there's so many directions this story can go. Like, and I'm very interested to see what they do. So let's just get the cat out of the bag. Game 5's ending was a game changer. And we were screaming when we all saw it. Because when Wanda basically she opens the door and she sees and Vision is there. And by the way, Vision is dead also. Like Thanos killed him in Infinity War. So
yes,
that's already whoa. But in episode 5, they confirmed a whole bunch of stuff. Episode 5, they not only confirmed that Wanda resurrected Vision. So Vision is alive. Wanda resurrected him. They literally said that in the show. So he is alive, which is insane to think about. She brought him back to life. But that ending scene, man. So we see Wanda. She opens the door. So the whole episode, they're talking about how, like the Billy and Tommy are sad because Sparky the dog died. And Wanda's trying to give them a whole soliloquy about, hey, we can't just alter reality. We can't just change that. We can't just bring certain people back to life. Like, we can't just keep doing that. So then they have that little soliloquy. So then Wanda, she gets a blast from her past because she misses her brother Pietro.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, what ends up happening is she opens the door and she sees Pietro, her brother, except the Quicksilver that we see isn't the one that died in the MCU. The
That's
Quicksilver we see is the one from the X-Men movies.
That's right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, multiverse. This is the first multiversal exchange happening in the MCU. And that's crazy because if you remember a couple years ago, Disney finally bought Fox. So now they own Fox. And that, oh my goodness. I can't even, oh my gosh.
So yeah, like you said, they opened the door. It's Evan Peters, who has played Quicksilver in the X-Men movies, and it's not the man who I forget the guy's name who played Pietro. No. Evan Peters is from the X-Men.
X-Men one.
I'm talking about Age of Ultron, the original Pietro, who they didn't even call Quicksilver in the movie, I believe. They don't, because they didn't want to mix the mutant rights with the Avenger rights and all that stuff. So that's what's so interesting about Scarlet Witch is that she is also an Avenger, but she's a mutant. So they had to, they explained the way that their powers come from the stone and they weren't mutants and they're not children of Magneto, but they're from Sokovia and things like that. So it's really, really interesting that we got Evan Peters who comes in and he's even dressed like the original comic book. He's wearing the colors of the original comic book Quicksilver. And it's very, very interesting. The other thing I want to mention is the tiny, tiny details, man, that Marvel does. Like, they are so paying attention. Like the FBI agent, I believe the actor is Randall Park. When you first meet him, when he first introduced himself to Monica Rambeau, he does the card trick that he was trying to learn
from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
From Ant-Man and the Wasp. He was spending years, he was practicing it all throughout the movie, and he was so excited by that trick, and he does it finally. So it's like, yo, they are developing even the minor characters. This is a comic book universe. It's so deep. And the other thing that I also liked, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about this, is they give it back to the comic book nerds, because like I was one of those comic book nerds who was saying, everyone's talking about Captain Marvel. Don't they know Scarlet Witch is actually the most powerful? She could have took out Thanos. And then they actually They said it in one of the episodes.
They said it.
Rambo goes, yo, Scarlet Witch is crazy powerful. She could have, if she really understood her power. So they kind of explain it. They're like, if she really understood her powers, she could have took out Thanos. And then they were like, nah, I heard Captain Marvel was strong. And then even then you could see her face, like she's like,
Captain Monica, in response, what she said is that she was she was literally about to kill Thanos if he didn't blitz the entire landscape after when he called for the airstrike to kill everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
She was gonna rip him apart. Like that would have been it. It would have been roll credits. Like that would have been it. But like, but Thanos had IQ. He said, just do it, just blow up the whole thing because I'm about to die. She's actually gonna kill me.
And that line that she says. Pay attention to that line, because that is the line that led to this series and what's happening in WandaVision. Because she says to Thanos, she says,
You took everything from me.
You took everything from me.
Yep.
And now I think she says, I'm going to take everything from you or something like that. Like, or she just has.
Oh, no. Thanos says, I don't even know you. And she's like, You will.
There you go. So. Yo, she said, you took everything from me. And that's another thing that she kind of reiterates in, what was it? Is it episode 5 when she comes out? She comes out in episode 5, right?
Yep, she comes out of the city. That hits deep, right? Because so like me and Nate, we watch WandaVision every single Friday when it comes up at 3 a.m. We'll stay up. We're not waiting until Friday morning, because especially doing us, if we don't, Twitter's gonna spoil it for us. Instagram, like it's ridiculous. And we're huge MCU fans. I love it. I'm so excited that Marvel's finally back after we didn't get anything in 2020 because of the pandemic. But the thing that's so crazy is, man, you know, the little things. This is setting up for the entire next phase of the MCU. People, you know, when people say, "Oh, WandaVision sucks," man, I don't like the sitcom. I'm just like, do you really think Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios, you know, are just gonna sit there and just give you a sitcom story the entire time? No, you got to be patient, man. Why do you think Infinity War and Endgame was so good? Because it brought everything that happened before it, right? And it made you realize that, oh yeah, the scene where Captain America's in the elevator, right? Oh, that's from Winter Soldier, right? Or when Tony jumps out of the Avengers Tower. Oh, that's from the first Avengers movie. It brings everything full circle, right? You gotta be patient with the storytelling, because when you go back, right, when WandaVision ends in about a month or so, because right after WandaVision ends, we're moving on into the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, right? When it ends after episode 9, you're gonna look back. I'm gonna go back and start from episode 1 of WandaVision and watch it all the way through and be like, that was worth it, right? Because it's already been confirmed that Wanda's gonna be in the next Doctor Strange movie, Doctor Strange 2: Multiverse of Madness, and they're setting, and that movie is gonna lead right into Spider-Man 3, right? And all this is gonna set up
Andrew Garfield, like, oh my,
yup,
get him, bro.
And that's all gonna set up with all these other movies and shows, and eventually lead into the next Avengers film, Avengers 5. Ooh. Whenever that happens in 2023, 24, whenever, right? It's all setting up for craziness. And the thing about it is, the biggest question that I have, right, is, sure, Wanda's going to understand her powers a lot more once we get to the end of this thing, right? And that's going to be trouble, you know? And my question is, what's going to happen with Vision? We now know that Vision is alive, right? Because the crazy thing about it is, you got to understand, he's like an android. He's a robot. His body doesn't decompose, right? Like he was, you know, all it is that, you know, he was being used. Basically, he was being breaking down for parts, right, by Sword, you know? And the thing about it is, we don't know who's the real villain here. It's not Wanda, because Eric, I remember what you asked at the beginning of this. Who's the real villain here? Is Wanda being controlled, right? When we were watching it and people saw Wanda come out of the city, people were saying, oh, Wanda's the villain here. I'm like, no, she's not. She's an Avenger. She's not, right? And the second you get to the end of the episode and you see, right, Petro there, but it's not the, you know, the Petro in the MCU, you could see, why in the world would Wanda bring back her dead brother? But the thing about it is, her dead brother that doesn't even look like his brother from Age of Ultron. This is all because of the multiverse. Someone is controlling Wanda. Wanda believes she's in control to a certain extent, right? But Wanda is being controlled at the end of the day. Right, and if you pay attention, when Wanda exits the city, she's looking right at that. I don't know what's the name of that character, the sword guy. He's the white. Yeah. I don't know his name. He could be the main villain. It could be Petro. We don't know. I'm not. You know, we're just speculating. But at the end of the day, I truly believe Wanda. She has someone's controlling her at the end of the day, and when this all wraps up in the next couple episodes, my big thing is, you know, because the Avengers always win at the end of the day. They always win. You know, what's going to happen to Vision? Does Vision, is Vision going to, because Wanda resurrected. Does Wanda have to sacrifice Vision to defeat whoever is the big villain here, right? Or maybe does Vision, you know, get to survive, but he doesn't have his powers? Because remember, the Vision we see, he still has the Mind Stone, but we know that the Mind Stone, all the Infinity Stones were returned by Cap at the end of Endgame. So clearly, Vision doesn't have the Mind Stone at the end of the day. So, you know, his powers aren't even supposed to be real, but we don't know what's going on. So that's my big thing. I do believe that Wanda is being controlled, but my big thing is, what's going to happen to Vision? Is he going to survive? Is he going to have his powers? Or is he going to be a normal human at the end of this? Or is Wanda going to have to sacrifice Vision, say goodbye to him for good, right? And be able to move on without him?
That's going to be tough to to bring him back and then had to lose it. Oh man, because that's the whole thing. This is why I disagree with you George, in this sense. I do believe there is another player, but I do not believe that the other player has anything to do with controlling Wanda. I think they're just exploiting the situation because this is so relative to Wanda's character in the comics. She goes through a massive amount of grief, and due to her massive amount of power to be able to warp reality, she just changes the universe and creates another one where she gets what she wants. And it's happened over and over in the comics with Wanda, where, you know, she had an issue with mutants, and then next thing you know, there's no more mutants, you know, something big like that. So I feel like she will snap out of it. Somebody will be able to reach her. Maybe it will be Monica. And, you know, maybe because of, you know, maybe Monica's powers will finally manifest and she'll be the other Captain Marvel that we know, or aka Photon. And she'll be able to reach out and then, you know, snap her out of this grief-filled mess. But the other thing that's interesting, you talking about Vision is real and resurrected. It seems that Billy and Tommy are extremely real.
Yes.
And they are and both of them in the comics, they take after Wanda and Pietro as well. One is called Wiccan. Yep. And the other one is called something related to speed too, something like that. Like I don't know what it is, quick or something like that.
Yeah.
But they seem very real too, and they were created in this that's freaky. Two twin boys that are going to be real. So either way, if
like
Vision,
that's a wild thing. Yeah, like I was about to say, like what you have to understand is, first of all, in the comics, Vision's powers don't come from the Mind Stone. He's just Vision. So if Vision is going to be in the MCU, like come back again, that would make absolutely perfect sense, because they said it in Endgame or Infinity War that there's still a whole lot of Vision left. The Mind Stone wasn't the only thing that made up Vision. And Wanda in the comics was able to create an entire new universe. She literally bended reality. But I wanted to also address your point about the villain. There are two people who I find big suspects. Because if this is a prelude to the Doctor Strange movie, I look at my first option is Dormammu. Dormammu, the evil lord of the evil dimension, he's one who I'm just like, okay. But the second person that's been floating around is Mephisto.
Yep.
Mephisto
in the Marvel comics is basically the devil. He's essentially the devil.
Yep.
And in the Avengers Disassembled, Wanda had made a deal with Mephisto in order for her to be able to have her kids and be able to have anything of that sort, which is what led to the events of House of M, where she reworked all of reality. So, like, this is definitely supernatural. That FBI director, I don't think that he's the main. I mean, he's obviously annoying. Like, he's an annoying character. He's like a slight antagonist, but the main antagonist is definitely somebody powerful enough to pull all this off. It might have been simple that Pietro was there, the Evan Peters version of him, but that's a multiversal shift. Like, you got to now think bigger about your villains right now. Like, that's a multiversal shift. And Wanda didn't do it, because you could see her face. She's like, Pietro? And then Pietro's like, Wanda, like, what's up? Like, what's going on? And what's even crazier is that Wanda wasn't in the X-Men movies. So how in the world does Evan Peters Pietro know?
Yep.
And I don't think, and that Quicksilver that he played, you know, it was a completely different Quicksilver too, in the fact that he didn't have a twin sister. It was a younger sister that you see for like a quick second. That when he does his speed motions, that you see for a quick second, they were like, "Oh, that's supposed to be Scarlet Witch," and things like that. People were speculating, so that's crazy. And the other thing is, speaking about you guys thinking about who the villain is, Mephisto or Dormammu, people are really talking about Mephisto because he was the one that did in the comics did the same similar thing, so that the twins would be born. Wanda would have twins, and if you look at the earlier episodes, they kind of did that in the fact there was a character by the name of Dottie who kind of gives like this subliminal messaging to Wanda, you know, for the children. And then next thing you know, she's pregnant. And then there's another one who people are not saying is the villain, but they are definitely thinking is somebody who's connected to Scarlet Witch in the name of Agnes, who is in the comics, and that's Agatha in the show. Because if you watch her, she's like one of the few characters besides Vision. Vision is starting to be aware that this is a show; it's not real.
Yep.
But Agatha is always aware. Like she's always like every episode she gives like a showing of being aware. Like in the last episode, she did something really freaky that even got Scarlet Witch. She was like, "You want me to take that from the top?" Because Vision didn't do his line right.
Yep.
And it's like she knows the script, so she's like, "You want me to take that from the top, Wanda?" And Wanda's like, "What? What do you mean take it from the?" She's like, "Yeah, redo the scene." Because that's what she does if something goes wrong. Wanda will redo the scene or re-edit it, and that's what people didn't understand about saying the show is slow. It's not slow. It's just that we were only seeing one little piece of the puzzle, and that was the broadcast. The first 3 episodes were the broadcast. We were watching the broadcast, and at one point you even see Darcy writing the notes. We don't know that's Darcy, but when we get to episode 4, we find out that it's Darcy. She's the one who is taking notes, and then episode 4 and 5 just blew it. So it's like you got to be patient, guys. Remember, when this whole thing started, it was one movie at a time. Iron Man came out 2008.
Yeah.
2008, and then they took their time. And it was like one movie every year or one every other year. Iron Man, then Hulk,
and then Captain America,
and
Thor,
and
then the Avengers.
Well, they actually did some sequels. Iron Man, I think, went to.
Oh yeah, Iron Man 2 comes out before the Avengers.
Yeah, and all these things, and Iron Man 2. That's where we get Scarlet Witch. Thor. That's where we get Hawkeye. And everybody starts coming together. And then when the Avengers come out, we don't need exposition. We don't need all that time. We already got it. It's good. Let's go. We know who Nick Fury is. Let's go. And now even the people who aren't comic book fans, it's like you already were reading the comics in the earlier movies, and now let's go. And that's what they do with this stuff. They slowly bring it. So those people who say, "Oh, it's too slow," listen, you're not paying attention to the Marvel Universe. All right, everything pays off in the end. That's what I'm gonna say. So yeah, man, and all the little details. Like there's the commercials. The commercials point to everything.
Yes,
that's painful for her. There's the Strucker watch. There's the Stark toaster.
Yep.
And then last there was Lagos paper towels wiping away bloodshed, because that's where she has her first big mistake, which leads to
Civil War.
Which leads to Civil War is what happened in Lagos. So yeah, it's just people need to realize that Scarlet Witch is one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful character in the Marvel Universe, because she is the Reality Stone. That's what I said earlier. People are saying, "Man, the Reality Stone's powerful." She is the reality. She will change reality, and that's what she did. When she came out of the universe, her accent returned.
It did. I noticed that.
They are so good to detail.
Because in Infinity War, it like disappeared. Like it just disappeared. Like she just wasn't talking in a Sokovian accent anymore. And I was like, what happened to her accent? But she stepped out, and then you see that, you hear her Sokovian accent. I was like, oh, I guess it's back now. Okay, all right.
So yeah, it's like it was, man. They're so good at these things, man. So let me ask this question for you guys. Do you think Monica already has the powers, or something else going to happen to cause the powers?
Oh yeah, she already has them, because they're in one of the scenes when she first came out the thing, they were literally doing the scan, and they're like, you have a whole bunch of weird readings going on your body right now. So I think she has the powers. I think at some point, like in the next, because what people don't understand is there are 3 episodes left, or 4 episodes, 6, 7, 8, 9. we have 4 episodes left. The next few episodes are going into the finale, and then we go right into Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I predict that around episode 7, like sometime in episode 7, something's gonna happen to where her powers are gonna manifest. And then you know what would be perfect if they were just to drop 6 and 7, and then 8 and 9. That would be like, I'd be like, oh,
you're asking too much of Marvel, man. You gotta be patient.
That would be great.
Oh
my god!
You know what I thought they were gonna do? I thought they were gonna do what? Oh no, Game of Thrones didn't do that, because there was a season where Game of Thrones got leaked the first 4 episodes, and then it was just bad. And I thought they were gonna just like release the first 4, but yeah, I don't think they're doing that. They want us to be tuned in.
Yep.
Every week, just like a sitcom, you come in for every episode. But listen, this is the other thing I wanted to ask. In terms of, it was related to Monica and Sword. Oh yes, the beginning of episode 4, where you get to see the end of
Infinity War.
Yeah, where people come back.
Like when they come back. Yep.
When they come back, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
That was so deep, because in Far From Home, it was played like a joke, like people just showed up and it was like, ha, that's funny. But this one, it went into the detail of it, because we find Monica, she reassembles.
Yep.
Right next to her mom's bed.
Yep.
Where she was just coming back from treatment for cancer. And the bed is empty, and she's freaking out. She's running around. Everybody else in the hospital is running around, and then she even sees somebody come together right next to her. She asks, the physician that was attending to her mom, and then that's when I realized, I was like, oh no, her mom is dead. Her mom is dead. And then you could see it in her face when the doctor realized it too, and she's like, no, Monica. Your mom, she's been dead she died 2 years ago. The cancer was gone, but it came back. You've been gone for 5 years. And that's when it was like, whoa.
You got to remember, this is taking place in 2023.
Yeah.
All the events that are happening right now are in the future. So like, we're in 2021 watching what's happening in 2023. That's why George and I assume the next Avengers movie won't be until 2023 or 2024.
Yeah.
Because they now need to catch up.
Yes.
On everybody.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
So we can all know what's going on by the next Avengers movie. So we have a point of reference.
Yeah. So because basically, right, when you watch Infinity War is supposed to take place kind of in our modern time. So Infinity War comes out.
Place in 2018.
Yeah, 2018. That's when the movie comes out. So they skip 5 years. So basically what's happening now that, Endgame is all over with and they're setting up all this other stuff for the next Avengers movie, you have all this stuff taking place in the universe at the same time. So basically, you have WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel 2, Thor 4. All these events are taking place around the same time because they're trying to play catch up. So by the time we get to 2023 and, God willing, we get the next Avengers movie, right? Basically, the timeline is now matched up to where we are in modern time in a way. So that's why I'm so thinking this. One of my predictions right now is I think Doctor Strange is going to appear in episode 9. All right, because if we're going right into Doctor Strange 2 and Scarlet's going to have that big a role, right? Would it make sense for Doctor Strange to show up? He is, he's in charge of, keeping reality safe. And Wanda's whole thing is about reality, right? It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. And, I'm all here for it, and I'm just so excited to see where they go with this, man, because we can speculate all we want. But the thing about it is we speculate and we think one thing and Marvel's like, oh, you thought this? We're going to flip the script on you real quick, and you're not going to see this coming. And it's what makes Marvel so good, right? Because they know how to keep you on your heels, right? Because when Marvel first started with, when they first announced these new series, right? We didn't know what to expect. We're getting movie budgets for TV shows on a streaming service.
Yeah.
Marvel, Disney Plus, they are resetting the game. And this is stuff that really interests me personally because, I studied communications in college. So I'm studying, business and all this. What Marvel is doing right now, they are changing the game for the future of streaming services, right? So I'm just telling you right now, pay attention to what Marvel is doing because they are changing the game for
Eric,
the rest of the world,
what the
man.
budget for WandaVision was.
Yeah.
I want you to guess what the budget for it was.
The whole series
the whole show, just the show. The budget for it.
The whole show? Oh, I'm gonna get 300 million.
It was 200 million. $200 million for a TV show? Are you serious? But George is right. Like, you have to understand the importance of what Disney is doing. Disney is like, okay, so we got this billion-dollar franchise in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What's one way that we can one-up all other franchises and companies on this stuff? Oh, we have our own streaming service. Let's not give our shows a budget of like 50 million. No. The MCU, it would be disrespectful to the legacy we just created over the past decade. We're going to give our shows nine-figure budgets. And it's amazing because when you watch the shows on your phone, you go, am I watching a movie right now? Because like, you're just like, whoa. Because the colors and the quality, the cinematography is Marvel movie grade. And you're sitting there going, wait, this is only happening for half an hour. And that's what Marvel does. Because now I'm hooked. You mean to tell me I'm getting the writing production of a movie in a show?
They're using IMAX cameras for a streaming service.
When was the last time you heard somebody do that? What? Like not like, bro, what? Like, it's like they're trying to film Avatar, like the movie Jim Cameron's Avatar, except in a TV show. Like, that's never been done before. Marvel is just complete. Disney, not even Marvel. Disney is changing the game forever. They really are.
And one thing that you'll notice is when it's the sitcom and it's the fake show sitcom, it will be sitcom cameras you're seeing.
The aspect ratio, it changes.
But once something happens and they're like, wait a second, it becomes the one camera of the Marvel universe.
Yep.
The widescreen becomes the
I
movie.
Just zoom in on my phone, like,
and you're like, whoa, this thing just changed. And they do that on purpose. It's just ridiculous. It's like, and this is the thing I think Disney and Marvel made genius with. They were just like, let's be patient. Let's expand the universe like the comics did. Build it by brick until it becomes this massive beast that there might be some you don't like. There might be some you love, and there might be, but you got to pay attention. And this is what I wanted to mention. Like, for instance, when the news of the streaming service came out, Netflix started to axe the Disney shows. Punisher.
Yep. Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and what's her name?
I know what you're talking. Jessica.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones.
Yep.
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Drew. Or is it Jessica Jones?
Yeah, Jessica. Yeah. No, not Jessica Drew. So, and then I found out that Disney wanted those shows to continue, and I was like, wait a second, why? And then I realized because they knew that they were going to be spending $200 million on WandaVision. They were like,
surprised if those shows come back.
They might, but this is the thing. They wanted that universe to continue because it was Netflix paying for that. They just had the control of the story. So that way they could expand the universe and make this huge universe.
Because all those movies, all those shows are part of the MCU.
They're canon.
They are canon to the MCU.
Also, yeah, like the ABC show. What is that called? Agents of Shield.
Agents of Shield.
Yes.
Yep, that's canon too. The events of Infinity War take place. That's why they had to make the whole time travel thing in that show, just because they knew what was happening in the MCU. Like, there's a scene in that movie where Tony, the Battle of New York that happens in Infinity War, legit, that battle is earth shaking. So you can see, the battle that Tony and Spider-Man are having with Thanos' minions, it's affecting their show as well. This is like it's crazy to me because Marvel, let's be like me and Nate agree. Like some movies, like maybe like Captain Marvel or the first two Thor or maybe Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, they may not be your favorite, right? They're, but you're still gonna watch because everything that takes place here is gonna be big for the future. Right. And the thing about it is Marvel has, Eric, you said it best. They grew this step by step by step. And now Marvel can do legit whatever they want. And you're going to watch no matter if it's great, no matter if it's bad, no matter if it's in the middle, you're going to watch because you're invested in the MCU and you're invested in what they're doing for the future. And that, it's just an example of good business, good storytelling, and people that care about what they're doing. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
Listen, there's no other show where you're gonna find three minor characters that you already know who they are. You already know their backstory. They don't have to introduce them to you. They don't have to talk. I mean, and it's from three different movies, right?
Yep.
Monica Rambeau, you had to watch Captain Marvel, or you don't know what they're talking about.
Or you don't get it at all.
No, you were like, who is this?
Yeah, the FBI agent, you have to watch Ant-Man, or you're not gonna get it. And then Darcy, you had to watch Thor. And if you didn't watch Thor, you're not getting it, and you're just like, oh, she's just an astrophysicist. But if you watch Thor, you're like, oh, hey, it's Darcy, and she became a doctor. Hey, she's an astrophysicist. Oh my goodness, she was just an intern, and she was taking economics, and she just changed her life.
Yeah, she just
it's crazy.
Yeah, you're just like you're invested. You're like, oh my gosh, oh, and then Monica, you're like, oh, her mom started S.W.O.R.D. because she knew Captain Marvel, and then she worked with Nick Fury, and she built the place. And then, of course, since she, all these little tiny things, it's like, man, you have to watch every single one. You may not like Thor, but if you have to watch because you're gonna miss it on your other show that you will like. It's like brilliant. That's how you make money. That's how you take people's money. It's like, just give me your money. You have no choice.
And you can tell the creators of Marvel care about their fans. Like they're not all of their movies were a hit. Okay, like we've already gone through the worst movies in the MCU. Like Phase 1, 2, like oh gosh, that was a mess. And Phase
Iron Man 3, yeah,
shaky. But once Marvel hit their stride, post 2013, like after the Avengers. You got the Avengers, you got Iron Man 3, you got Guardians of the Galaxy, you got Captain America Winter Soldier. Okay, once Marvel hit their stride,
Black Panther was a monster hit.
Black Panther, like this is the thing that people don't understand about Black Panther. That movie will forever be ingrained in the minds of everyone. Why? Because Marvel was smart about the marketing. You think they're dumb? You think that they released it during February on purpose? It's Black History Month. You got a black main character with an all-black cast. It's a Marvel movie.
The movie was a cultural movement.
It was a culture, bro. I remember when we all saw Black Panther like 3 years ago. You got people showing up to movie theaters dressed in African garbs, dancing. Wakanda Forever was like everybody was throwing up the X for the next.
It's now part of pop culture forever.
It's part of
this
pop culture. And that's the thing about Marvel that's so amazing. It's the fact that this is what happens when you deal. This is where DC went wrong. Marvel cared, and they were very meticulous from bottom to top, and they knew they had to be relentless, and they knew they were going to take some hits because it wasn't going to be perfect. But if you had just given me the Infinity Saga and said, that's it, and they had said, that's it, we're done making Marvel movies, that story was perfect.
They could have ended it after Endgame. I don't need
anything else. The Infinity Saga was a complete, whole, beautiful, perfect story. I don't need anything else. I could be perfectly fine. But, it made billions of dollars, so of course they're not going to stop. And now they're going to use the same exact blueprint because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they're using the same blueprint, except now, since they got the big company backing and the money and Disney knows that this is going to work, now Disney's going to throw down $200 million for their TV shows. So imagine how much money they're about to throw down for the next Avengers movie. I predict that the next Avengers movie is going to have the highest movie budget of all time, like Endgame did. Endgame's budget was the highest of all time. So the next Avengers movie, man, they're going to throw more money on that.
And they're just going to keep resetting the record book. Like Avengers Endgame, right? Won all the awards, broke all the box office records, and when Avengers 4 comes or Avengers 5 comes out here in a couple
I'm
years,
going to see it. Same thing.
it's gonna reach that. And Nate, you mentioned here's the problem with DC. And I don't want to make this about Marvel DC, but I'm gonna mention it really quick. They didn't take their time like Marvel did. They rushed, right? Oh, giving us Batman v Superman, giving us Justice League. And then when people go and watch those movies, they're like, all these plot holes, all these things that don't make sense, right? Because DC saw what Marvel was doing and they're like, oh, we gotta do these big things just to try to, hold our own. Right? Instead of taking time building up their universe, they decide, oh, we gotta rush. We gotta rush because we gotta beat Marvel. We gotta beat Marvel. And think about this: for Marvel, this is not a competition. They just care about giving the best product to their fans. Right. And now it allows them to do whatever they want because they got their fans invested and they're just going to keep bringing in new fans and more fans. Now, DC, their universe is all messed up. You have all these standalone flicks that, you're asking, oh, is this in this timeline? Is this taking place here? And now DC's like, we don't know where the future of their cinematic universe is.
DC, I respect DC in this light. What they're doing now is very, very smart. And it all started with Aquaman. They realized, okay, we're doing this the whole wrong way. And I love what DC's doing. And I'm telling you, watch what DC does. Warner Brothers is finally doing something smart. They're not doing the MCU approach. Instead, they're giving it to a director and they say, make your spin on this character and let's see what happens. We saw it with Aquaman. We saw it with Joker. And we all know how good Joker was. And now we're about to see it with Batman. We saw it with Wonder Woman. We're about to see it with Batman, Robert Pattinson. I don't care what anybody says. The Batman, that movie's going to be fire. I'm telling you right now, the Batman is going to be so good. I can just tell it's going to be so good. And because here's what happened. They did that the first time with Christopher Nolan, and we got the Dark Knight trilogy. They did it with Zack Snyder, and we got Man of Steel. DC needs to keep with that formula. Give the directors their chance to tell their own story with the character. And then you can make a multiverse thing because we're getting the Flashpoint movie. So then you can make a multiversal Justice League type thing now and add all these characters. You can do that. But I love the direction that DC's taking. They're finally giving the directors control, and the directors are hitting it. They are hitting it. I'm telling you.
Well, the last DC that came out was a terrible, terrible flop in Wonder Woman 1984. Horrible movie. Horrible movie. It is terrible. And it will not be watched again. It is up there with the only one I give still is worse is Catwoman with Halle Berry, but
oh my gosh,
oh my good, it was that bad.
Wow. Yeah, it was not good. The way people are playing it, and you see all these movies, like even Iron Man 3. And it not being that good, I have to watch it again because there's so many things that it pays off, But Wonder Woman, and whenever they get it wrong, that's the thing about DC, and that's the downside of that formula, Nate. That is a good formula, but what makes Marvel so great is the mind of Kevin Feige saying, everything has to fall under the umbrella, so and everything has to be meticulous, right? But when the DC does it, there's so many just wild out of there things, and it kills it because when a bad DC movie goes out, it's just bad, and then you can't watch it again.
Yep.
Catwoman has no Iron Man 3. It's bad, but you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it because there's little things like who's that young boy at the end? I mean, who's that young man at the end of Endgame? No, you gotta watch Iron Man 3, right? But when a DC movie's bad, it's just just throw it in the trash. What does Catwoman do for you? Nothing. There's nothing to get from it. So just throw it out. Just throw it out into the trash. Forget it. Don't even watch it again. And so
I'm hoping DC, there's hope for the future. The Batman trilogy is iconic. It's one of the best trilogies, if not the best trilogy in the history of superhero movies. It's amazing, and I have hope for the Batman and whatever they got planned after that. But DC for me, right, has been so poor with their cinematic universe that I have to take it from a movie to movie basis. I don't gotta do that with Marvel because they earn my trust, and whatever they do, I'm gonna watch it regardless of if it's good or bad. DC, you gotta win my trust because there's only been a couple of DC movies that I've enjoyed. Right? I joke with Nate all the time about this. He likes Aquaman. I sat next to Nate in the movie theater when we saw Aquaman, and I fell asleep for 30 minutes.
Fell asleep halfway
For 30 minutes.
I'm like, how?
I woke up, and it was the final battle, and I was like,
No, George, it wasn't that bad.
no. For me, I didn't like it.
It's sad because you know what's crazy? The whole time while the Marvel universe was going on, the MCU, DC's animated universe kicked off with
their
Justice League
animated
War.
movies are
That animated universe
amazing.
was amazing. And what's crazy is they just ended that animated universe last year with Justice League Dark Apocalypse War in an Endgame-like way. But they still created an entire DC. The DC animated universe was almost as good as the MCU. Those movies from Justice League War to Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, fire.
But here's the thing. This is what always affected comic book movies from the get, and even happens in Wonder Woman 1984. The introduction of a new character and having to put their origin in the story.
Yes,
Especially when there's another plot going on. This is what makes or kills a movie. Like Dark Knight, masterpiece. Joker, no origin story. He is in the movie literally like 12 minutes or something like 15 minutes. The movie's 2 hours 20. But if you take all his scenes, it's like and like the last one, Dark Knight Rises. Bane is awesome. Love the voice, Tom Hardy. He is literally in the movie 14 minutes. I've watched every scene of Tom Hardy. There's a YouTube video of it where it just shows all his scenes and all his dialogue. It's 14 minutes, right? The reason Joker does well, Joker is not fighting Batman. It's his entire origin story, period. And that's what kills a comic book movie. When you try to do both, you either have to be really good or it's going to come out really bad. And that's what always happens with DC. They're always introducing characters and trying to, that's what happened with Wonder Woman 1984. You got Wonder Woman, you got Cheetah, and you got Maxwell Lord, and you have to give them their origin stories. So they all have to get some time. And Wonder Woman's trying to fight crime. It's not going to happen. You got to either. That's what the animated universe does so well.
Yep.
It just boom. This is only for the comic book nerds. Harley Quinn's over here doing her stuff. You don't know who she is? Read the comic. Oh, here's Killer Frost. You don't know who Killer Frost is? Oh, too bad. Read the book. We're not explaining, Yep. And then they just go into their characters, they talk and all that stuff, and then boom, we're into the action. That's the way. You either do it that way, or you have to be really smart in how you introduce characters and give origins. That's why I love the Marvel universe, because they were patient. They knew every movie. Here's your origin. Because we're not giving you too much, right? We're not giving you all of S.H.I.E.L.D. in one. No. Hawkeye in Thor, Black Widow in Iron Man 2, Coulson in Iron Man, slowly build so that now when they all come together in Avengers, no origin story needed. Just boom, right to the action.
Yeah.
I'm going to deliver a hot take right now.
Here we go.
The order of Avengers movies goes Infinity War, Endgame, Age of Ultron, and the first Avengers movie is actually the worst Avengers movie out of all four of them. There you go, Age of Ultron. I rewatched that movie, and that movie, Age of Ultron, is an amazing movie. I guarantee you, if you go back and watch it, you're gonna be like,
whoa.
Age of Ultron has the better action, the better villain, it has better cinematography. Oh, listen, Ultron is a bad man, bro. Ultron is so metaphorical. So eloquent the way he talks.
Listen.
Nobody's saying that. Age of whoa, guys, this is what I don't get. No, Nate's saying that because over the last week with the snowstorms, everything, a bunch of our friends have been watching, Disney Plus watch parties, right? Age of Ultron's a good movie, right? It's so good that it's the worst Avengers movie in most people's opinions. It's not a bad movie.
No, it's not
It's
bad.
not. It's just that the first Avengers movie, Infinity War and Endgame, are just that damn good. It's that, and Eric, to your point, right? When you were talking about origin stories, Infinity War is told from Thanos' perspective. Think about that for a second, guys. You think an Avengers movie, they're going to tell it from Iron Man's perspective, Captain America's perspective. No, this is what's so good about Marvel where DC doesn't get it. The only times you see Thanos, because they don't give Thanos his own movie. They could have if they wanted to, right? Here's the thing. Thanos, you only see him at the end of Avengers. You only see him at the end of Age of Ultron and for like 2 minutes in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, right? And they decide to risk it all and tell Avengers Infinity War from Thanos' perspective. The way the movie opens up, the way the movie ends. The movie ends with Thanos sitting down.
Bro.
And it's like, bam, Thanos won. It's crazy. And the thing is, they don't even have to give you a big Thanos origin story. They don't even give you his origin really until right before the final battle when he's on Titan talking about why he does what he does. And it works because, after Thanos won, that could have ended his story right there. That ends his arc. He's done. He says, I'm going to rest now. I did what I had to do because he believes at the end of the day, I'm doing this for the universe. I'm making sure that the universe is able to survive. And that's why in Endgame, they decide, all right, we're going to go back to telling the story from the Avengers perspective. That's why they killed Thanos in like the first 15 minutes of the movie. And that's what DC needs to understand. You got to make a decision. If you're going to do an origin story, you got to go all in and focus just on that. You can't be trying to mix in all these major plot points at once because it gets too convoluted. Movies are, and yes, we know movies are getting longer and longer, right? Because Endgame was 3 hours long almost. But still, you can't spend all this time trying to do this and this, X, Y, Z. No, because then, your plot's going to get messed up. People are going to be confused and ask more questions, and you're not going to get the answers you want, all right? And then it's going to make the movie worse. And that's one of the main problems with DC. Marvel has got it down. DC needs to catch up. And hopefully they do. Hopefully, listen, I'll give them hope. But
listen, Nate, you got to not sleep on my man, Baron Zemo. I think people be sleeping on Baron Zemo so hard, they don't realize that besides Thanos, this guy... Well, I don't think Killmonger really succeeded, but Zemo and Thanos. Like, Zemo succeeded hard. He gets arrested at the end. And then there's that scene with the agent from Black Panther who says, yeah, you didn't succeed. And Zemo goes, did I not succeed? And I'm like, now that's my kind of villain. And that's what I like about him, because he's cerebral. He's not there.
All psychological.
Yeah, he's not there.
Mental.
It was all right here.
Yeah, he's not there to conquer. He's not there to conquer universes.
What's
or
the
kill
quote?
People.
What's the quote from Civil War? It's like an empire. What is it called? An empire that's like
attack. I'll paraphrase. He basically said an empire that's attacked by like an outside force.
Yeah, can rise again.
Can rise again. But an empire that crumbles from within, that doesn't come back.
Yep.
Yes. So true. When the battle becomes internal, oh gosh.
And I'm so excited because he will be let loose with what is it? The one after WandaVision. They're not
Falcon
letting us
and Winter
rest.
Soldier. They gave the commercial during the Super Bowl. It's only like 30 seconds, but if you go on their Instagram and YouTube, there's like a 2-minute trailer. And oh man, woo! And there's talks right now that Chris Evans could come back as Captain America. I think if they do that, it's going to be with the multiverse. It's going to be a different Captain America. Same
Probably
thing
the
if they
Captain
bring
America
back,
in the comics that was a Hydra
Iron
agent.
Man.
Listen,
he could come back as a Hydra agent.
I've been thinking that. Yes.
Remember I said that.
Yes.
And let's not also forget they're actually getting the What If series. I just looked at that. The What If that's going to be voiced by the actors. It's going to be animated and voiced by the actors. I think that's going to be ridiculous. Like what if Peggy got the super soldier scissors, which is something I really did ask. I was like, they already had Peggy over here. Why didn't they just give it to her? You know, she would have just took everything down. She would have done. She would have been a beast.
It's gonna be sad hearing T'Challa's voice.
Yeah, it's gonna be sad.
Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman, man.
Yeah, T'Challa as Star-Lord. So yeah, man. So guys, this was so much fun. We had to talk about this stuff. Hopefully we'll get back and talk about maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier, but also Mandalorian, which is something I want to talk to you guys about so bad. Nate, get on that show, please.
I've watched all of Star Wars but The Mandalorian. I'm a Star Wars savant, but I just haven't gotten to it. I haven't finished it, so I have.
Yo, Eric, I don't know if you know this, right? But you know, we're wrestling fans. Ask Nate. I got into Star Wars for one reason, and now I'm a Star Wars fan, right? But I got into it for one reason.
George
Reeves, baby.
George.
That was his reason for. Oh my gosh.
I'm a Star Wars fan now. I'm not like I'm not like a diehard like I am a Marvel fan, but I'll consider myself like a casual now. But
I'm a diehard Star Wars fan now. After last year.
But you haven't watched The Mandalorian.
I'm mad George got on that show. By the way, everybody, the reason he became is because his favorite wrestler, Sasha Banks, current SmackDown Women's Champion,
the GOAT,
is currently a guest star on The Mandalorian. And here's the thing. I'm mad that that's the reason, George, because it's too good. It's too good. The Star Wars universe is mirroring Marvel universe, and that it's getting massive, and it all pays off. You watch the Clone Wars, you watch Rebel, you watch The Mandalorian, you watch all the movies, they all pay off. But they did
that last trilogy was
still it's all gonna pay off. But George, I do have to admit they treated her well. That they did her good service. They didn't overuse her.
Yep.
And they didn't underuse her. They used her right where they needed her, kept her in her lane, and boom, looks good. Show looks good. So anyway, guys, let's just end it on this. Give me like 30 seconds on your prediction on what's going to happen at the end of WandaVision. Starting with you, George. Go.
All right, end of WandaVision. All right, I believe that Vision will be sacrificed, right? Because the whole thing here, Wanda is, dealing with her grief. I think whatever is going to happen here, if there's a main villain or if this is just Wanda herself, Wanda's going to have to say goodbye to Vision. And, that's going to lead directly into Doctor Strange. Because I do think Doctor Strange will be in either episode 8 or episode 9, and that's going to lead right into Doctor Strange 2. Plus, Monica's going to, showcase her powers, which will lead into Captain Marvel 2, right? And I feel like it's just going to lead into just more greatness for the MCU.
Nate.
Yeah, there's a lot I have to go through. So with this, first off, main villain either going to be Dormammu or Mephisto. Second off, Doctor Strange, I agree with George. He's probably going to show up. Third off, I think Vision's still going to be alive simply because Paul Bettany's contract, I don't think is up. I think he renewed his contract. So I'm pretty... I
didn't even know that.
He'll come back. I'm pretty sure he'll come back. I don't think his contract's up. Third of all, Pietro, we're going to see a Fantastic Four teaser. Like, there's going to be some Fantastic Four. They already mentioned Reed Richards in there. Monica mentioned something about a neurobiologist.
And the Young Avengers.
And the Young Avengers. So we're going to get Fantastic Four. And yeah, right into Doctor Strange. So that's why I think Dormammu is the main villain. So that's what I'm expecting. I want to see all this come out in the last few episodes. That's what I want.
So this is what I envision. Wanda is really in control of everything, and they're gonna make us really upset because it's all gonna be in the last episode. We're gonna get good content every episode, but then the last episode. Finally, Monica
be like an hour long.
Probably.
The last episode, Monica finally gets to Monica and Vision finally get to Wanda, and she says, "Fine, I need to let go of my hold of the city," and she finally lets go of the hold of the city. Vision, is still alive, but he doesn't forgive Wanda right off. They are broken up. All right. And but with that being said, she realizes the two boys are alive, and then she's like, "What am I gonna?" And then that's when Mephisto shows up and says, "Ha yes, exactly as I planned." And here we go. And then all of a sudden, Doctor Strange shows up, and then right when we get excited, like, give me another 4 hours of this. Boom, the end.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
See ya, Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's my prediction.
Oh my gosh.
The last 10 minutes, and even the last episode, is going to be kind of slow. And then the last 10 minutes is going to be too much action. You're going to be begging for 4 hours more, like they usually do. And it's going to be
I wish it was a movie. You're going to be like, why isn't this a movie?
And then they'll say, Doctor Strange
will return.
Scarlet Witch
will return.
Wiccan. Vision.
Oh, Pietro. Yeah, Quicksilver.
Pietro will return.
Throws in Hugh Jackman at the end of there.
Oh my
God. Throws in Hugh Jackman, and he's all just like, what's going on in here? It's like, whoa!
Ryan Reynolds shows up. He's like, hey, Deadpool's here for the party too, y'all. And it's like, they all will return for Doctor Strange 2.
I think at that point,
multiverse of madness. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for joining us. We will be back next time. If you enjoyed this conversation, we talked a lot about a show because we were just having fun. You know, Gen Z and millennials having fun talking about what we watch. Let us know. Comment, share, subscribe. You know the deal. And you guys know where to find Nathan and George. They've told you over and over again. If you're not already subscribed, you're missing out on their great content. So next time, we'll see you on the show for the Z. See ya. Bye.
Pop out with some lessons for a lifetime. We finna sit down and talk about the times. Keeping it 100 for the one time. For our generation, talking all the time. For the C, yeah, yeah. For the C, yeah, yeah. For the C, yeah, yeah. For the C, pop out with the Z.